Hello friends, welcome you all to a yet new episode of Indian Polity from the Humanities. In the last two videos dedicated for the Indian constitutional development, we have covered the Act Regulating Act of 1773 and the Pitt's India Act of 1784, and we have also covered the Charter Acts of 1853, 1833 and 1853. In this video, we are going to talk about the Acts of 1858 and 1861. Okay, but before starting our before starting our video, I would like to request all of you to please subscribe to the channel, because on this channel you will find different videos related to your civil services examination, the strategies on how to prepare for the examination, the study material for it in polity, history, geography, economy, all those topics, and also some test series as well. Okay, so let's start today's video with the Act of 1858 first. Okay, so first time this Act of 1858 was termed as Government of India Act by the British Parliament. Okay, the earlier acts, they were called as the Indian Councils Act, or Charter Act. They were called as Charter Act because they were passed by the as an order of the Crown. But from this onwards, they were called as Indian Council Act or the Government of India Act. So this was a Government of India Act, and because it was passed in 1858. Now, first thing, what was the need for it? So all of us know that in 1857, the first war of independence that took place, and because of that first war of independence, the British had to face a lot of problem related to their rule over India, and they decided to bring some changes after that revolt in the administration of India. And to bring those changes, they introduced this Government of India Act 1858. Okay, so through this act, the first thing that they did was they titled the act for the Good Government of India. This was the real title of it. The real name of this act was Act for the Good Government of and Good Governance of India. Okay, that was the real name of it, and it transferred the powers of government, its territory and its revenues to the British Crown. We have studied in our earlier videos that it was the Act of 1773 itself when the centralization process started, and it was in the 1784 that all the possessions of the company, East India Company in India, it was called as the British possessions in India. But all those from 1784 till 1857, it was the indirect rule of the Crown, of the British Parliament on India. But it was in 1858 when everything was directly taken to under control of the British Crown. Okay, and then what it did, that it changed the designation of Governor-General to the Viceroy. Okay, Viceroy. Earlier it was called Governor-General of India, but this Governor-General of India position, it was changed to this Viceroy position. And here we need to understand two things very clearly, that when this person, it was the same person, and when he was dealing with the British areas, he was called as Viceroy. Okay, and when he was dealing with the privy or the princely states, then he was called as the Governor-General. So it was the same person from 1858 onward who was known for both names, Governor-General and Viceroy. When he was ruling with on the British areas, he was called Viceroy, but when he was talking with the princely states, he was called Governor-General. So this was the case. at that time. And Lord Canning was the first Viceroy of India. So three persons, three things that you need to know, which will be asked, which may be asked in examinations, and all these things they have been asked previously in years as well. Like Governor-General of Bengal. The first Governor-General of Bengal was William Warren Hastings. Okay, first Governor General of Bengal, Warren Hastings. Then first Governor General of India, William Bentinck, and the first Viceroy, Canning. Okay, these three things you should know, all the first ones. Okay. Now, we all know that through the Act of 1833 or 1784, through the Act of 1784, two positions were made: Court of Directors and Board of Control. And this position was called, this system was called as dual government. So, through this act, the Act of 1858, that dual government or double government system was ended. Okay, this is an important provision of this act. Besides this, a new post was created, and it was called Secretary of State for India. But this post was not in India; it was in Britain. He was a member of the British Parliament and the cabinet, member of British cabinet as well as Parliament. Okay, and he was responsible to the Parliament for the affairs of India, and he had complete authority and control over Indian administration. Okay, so three things that you should know regarding this Secretary of State position. He was a member of British cabinet and looking after the Indian administration, and was responsible to the Parliament for this job. Okay, the Secretary of State. And to assist this, the Secretary of State, a committee was created, a committee with 15 members in that, which was called India Council or the Council of India. Okay, and it was chaired by the Secretary of State himself. This is the Secretary of State himself. Okay, so to assist the Secretary of State, 15-member committee was created, which was called India Council, and it was chaired by the Secretary himself. Now, this Secretary of State in Council, it consisted as a body corporate, and he was capable of being sued and to sue any in India as well as in England. So this was the case with India 1858. There was a few other provisions, but these were some important provisions regarding Indian polity. Okay, regarding Indian polity, these were the important provisions. But when we will be studying about these topics again in Indian history, we will know that there were some other things that they did, like differentiating the military and dividing the military on the basis of two classes. They divided it on martial class and non-martial class. So they divided the whole Indian society on the basis of castes, and so all those things. But we will study all these topics in history, not in polity. So far we are studying polity, and these topics were under Government of India Act 1858 related to the political development, or say the constitutional development. Now the next one is India Council Act of 1861. Now under this 1861 Act, result of policy of association started. Now what happened in the government after 1857 revolt? They realized that the main reason why that revolt took place was because they they actually did not accommodate Indians into the governance system. So they decided to start the policy of association, and which means Indians in administration. So they started to include Indians in this administration process. So for this, it started the representative institutions as well, okay, to accommodate Indians into the system. Representative institutions by directing Viceroy to incorporate Indians into lawmaking process. Okay. Now the Viceroy, on the recommendations of this, in 1862, first time incorporated some Indians as non-official members to his council. We have studied that a council was created to assist the Viceroy in lawmaking process, and the legislature and the executive powers were separated altogether. So, for lawmaking process in the legislature, CLC that we have studied, Central Legislative Council, some Indians were added, and first of all, in the year 1862, 3 Indians were added to it. The first one was the Raja of Benares, second one was the Maharaja of Patiala, and the third one was Sir Dinkar Rao, and added to Central Legislative Council. Okay. Now this started the process of decentralization. We studied that centralization process, it started from 1773 and it reached to its pinnacle, to its top level in the year 1853. Okay, but again in 1861 the decentralization process started, okay, by returning the legislative powers back to the provinces. Okay, so Bombay and Madras provinces, they were given their legislative powers back. Okay, and this process, decentralization process, finally led to its top in 1937. Okay, so centralization process. Centralization process started from 1773 up to 1853. Okay, and the decentralization process, decentralization process, it started from 1861 and finally ended in 1937. So this is the case. Besides this, the India Council Act of 1861, it also had a few other provisions, like the new legislative councils were established for Bengal, Northwest provinces, and Punjab, starting from 1862, 86, and 97. So the provision were made to establish new legislative councils in these areas, Bengal and Northwest provinces and Punjab. For Bengal, it was established in 1862. For Northwest provinces, 1886, and for Punjab, 1897. Besides this act also empowered the Viceroy to make rules and laws for smooth functioning of the councils, CLC at that time, and other state legislative councils. So, Viceroy was empowered to frame the rules and laws for smooth functioning of these legislative councils. Besides this, the portfolio system was also started. This portfolio system was actually the ministry system that we call, or say the department system. So, dividing or delegating the powers by governor to his subordinates or to his fellow members. This system was called as portfolio system, and it was started through this act by Lord Canning. It already started in 1859, but it was approved through 1861 Act. So who started this portfolio system? Then Lord Canning. When it was started, 1859, and when it was approved, 1861. Okay, portfolio system started by Canning in the year 459, approved by 1861 Act. Now, the same act also authorized the Viceroy to issue ordinances. This is also an important provision to remember. ordinance issuing power of the Viceroy. It was started in the same year, 1861, in emergencies, which have a span of 6 months, which is same for today's time as well. Okay, so we will be studying this ordinance making power of in present day, which is with the president and the governors, when we will be studying about them. But it started in through 1861 Act, this ordinance making power. So this was a small introduction about these two acts, the Acts of 1858 and the Act of 1861. I hope these two are clear now, and you can answer all the questions from these two topics in your exams. So besides this, we are also running our Telegram channel. Two Telegram channels are there. We are running one for UPPSC, that's the Civil Services Examination of the Uttar Pradesh state, and one for UPSC, that's the IAS examination. And the name of the UPPSC examination is UPPSC 2020, and for UPSC it's UPSC CSE 2020. These are two channels that you can see. To join the UPPSC channel, you can click on this link, and to join the UPSC channel, you can click on this link, or you can search by their names. There, you can search by these names on Telegram. Okay, or you can click on these links to join our Telegram channels. So that was it for this video, and if you have not subscribed to the channel, and if you like the video, please do press the like icon and share the video with your friends. And if you like the effort, please do subscribe to the channel to get more such videos. And if you want to get the notification of our videos, please do press the bell icon. Thanks for watching the video. Stay healthy, stay safe, and keep preparing for your examination. Best of luck for your next endeavors. See you in the next video. So